There's been a lot of Corvette news lately, from the C8 ZR1 breaking lap records, bowling plant production news, and EVs apparently being better than C8 Corvettes. Also, if you're watching this video on the day it airs, today is the last day to enter the giveaway of the channel and the new throttle controller from CForce Performance. I'll let you know how you can enter if you haven't already. So all of that news and more we're gonna go over in today's video. So thanks for tuning into the channel, and today we are bringing back our Corvette news type videos and talking about what's the latest going on kind of deal. We're planning to do this as a Friday weekly video, kind of like what I came across as Corvette news, maybe even sometimes things beyond that if it's something I find interesting and I want to share it with you guys. But I am excited to make news type videos again. I had stopped for a while because it was hard to make those videos on the fly, especially because the news comes out whenever it does and I have a regular day job aside from making these videos. So it is kind of challenging to say the least, but making these weekly videos is definitely more doable because I can plan things out. So it's going to be a more chill, laid back video, a good place of general Corvette news of the week so you can catch up on the latest. So if you're new to the channel, you like what you hear and you want to know the moment these videos drop, I definitely invite you to subscribe to the channel as well as like this video, because it does help me grow this channel and share it with others who might be interested as well. So okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's get into these topics we plan to discuss. All right, so let's start with some exciting ZR1 news and how the new ZR1 C8 Corvette has broken racetrack records at not one, not two, not even three, but 5 different famous American racetracks. And by famous, I'm talking like Watkins Glen, Road America, Road Atlanta, and Virginia International Raceway, or VIR. The ZR1 destroyed the lap times on those racetracks and dethroned some extremely fast cars, including the likes of a McLaren Senna, which is a $1 million hypercar. All around the C8 platform that, even with the ZTK package the ZR1 was using, was a quarter of the freaking price of these $1 million cars. The ZR1 was pulling more than 1.2 lateral Gs blazing through corners in VIR, for example, and was a good 10 miles an hour faster than even the McLaren Senna in certain places. And by the way, these lap records were made by GM engineers, which is insane. Not that the engineers don't know how to drive the car, because they obviously do, but the fact that they pulled this off, and it's not just at one racetrack where it might be considered like a fluke, but at 5 different tracks, is unbelievable. It is absolutely insane how much this new platform is bringing to the table. And there's been a lot of comments from all over saying things like, well, yeah, the ZR1 is 1,000 horsepower. Of course it's gonna do a faster time. But the thing about something like that is, if horsepower was really all that mattered to get super fast lap times, then all these other manufacturers would just be shoving as much horsepower as they could and kind of leaving everything else to the side. But it's not. It's a delicate balancing act between horsepower, superb handling, aerodynamics, lightness, and the latest tech. The ZR1 has cracked the next level of fast, even putting other hypercars to shame, which honestly, this is great news, guys, for all of us as car enthusiasts, because this puts a fire under other manufacturers, for lack of better terms, butts, to play catch up and push the competition to make better and faster cars. As an engineer, I can appreciate that, because it's going to really wake up these other car brands, look at themselves, and really come to terms that they need to step it up to be competitive. And again, which means that we as car enthusiasts win with faster cars in the future. So that's pretty freaking cool. So, okay, so now that we talked about the ZR1, to start with, let's talk about the birthplace of new Corvettes and the GM Bowling Green assembly plant. There's some upcoming production pauses that are expected to happen. Now, the plant is designated to pause production for 4 weeks, 4 non-consecutive weeks, allowing GM what is calling project improvements and manufacturing updates. The pauses will be happening during the weeks of February 24th, the last 2 weeks of March, starting March 17th, and the week of May 19th. Now, this isn't the first time GM has done a production pause for this kind of reasoning. They've actually done this before, and it was usually to allow for preparation of the new C8 variant being built, or at least tooling and such to be figured out without prying outside eyes watching. So for example, they did do this same thing for the Z06, the E-Ray, and then the ZR1 variants. And so this series of pauses is probably to start putting together the next variant of the C8 lineup, Now, what that would be is still technically up in the air, but it's between the final flagship C8 Corvette Zora or the C8 Corvette Grand Sport. The Zora, which would build on what the ZR1 already has with its twin-turbo LT7 motor, would then add the hybrid electric motors from the E-Ray. That flagship variant is going to be absolutely insane. By the way, I mean, we're still trying to wrap our heads around the ZR1. The Zora, I can't even imagine. It's just going to be absolutely ludicrous fast. So that it may be that, or it may be the Grand Sport version, which all signs point to the Grand Sport being essentially a C8 Stingray with a wide body type stance, similar to the E-Ray and Z06, maybe with a little bit of horsepower, but still probably using the same LT2 engine. It kind of hits that sweet spot between the Stingray and those other higher level variants. Whichever it is, it'll be pretty cool, but I am curious at what you guys think they might be working on. So if you have an idea, type it in the comments because I love to know. Either way, it's an expected halt that is based on process improvements and it's not any kind of supply chain shortages, which also has happened before, but all exciting news to hear because GM isn't looking to slow down on its improvements and its enhancements on the Corvette platform. And since we are on production news, the next topic worth mentioning is the first allocations for the ZR1 are finally out, and those initial lucky customers have their orders being accepted by GM and getting scheduled for production. Now, the big caveat to that though is that at first glance with those first allocations, there are restrictions on options being available. One of those options being the ZTK option, which gives you the big wing, upgraded suspension, and other crazy performance enhancements. The thing that let the ZR1 break those lap records that I mentioned before. So that essentially is not going to be available, and it probably won't be available for the 2025 year, especially because they kind of started this year already and haven't started production, so it's going to be a low rate production year. But there is some good news though, as it looks to be that GM has heard the frustration of customers wanting that option and have seen orders actually go back from the 3,000 status, that is GM production accepting those orders and scheduling the build on the assembly line, and they're actually getting sent back to the 2,000 level status to potentially accommodate that ZTK option, or at least the availability of the high wing or TOM option. Now, whether that is the true case or not remains to be seen, so I guess we will know more as more details come out. But the fact of the matter is that the ZR1s are going to be soon in the hands of customers, and I'm looking forward to seeing them in person when they do. All right, now that we talked a bit about the Corvette production and ZR1 stuff, let's talk about something that might be a little bit more triggering for Corvette folks out there, including myself. So what if I told you that there is a better sports car out there than the C8 Corvette Stingray for the same amount of money? I honestly don't believe there is, but Motor Trend says they found another car, and get this, it's an EV vehicle. That's right, it's a full electric vehicle. I can't even talk. They did a comparison test between the C8 Stingray and said that the new Hyundai Ioniq 5N is a better sports car. Now, me coming across this article, them were fighting words, and I'm sure Motor Trend thought so too, which is probably why they did this comparison to begin with. And I mean, I'm not completely against EVs. I mean, my wife, her car is an EV vehicle. They definitely have their spot in the car market. It's just a bit of a bold claim considering everything the C8 has accomplished, especially when it came out originally. But with respect to the C8 Stingray, that base platform has been out for a few years now, and it's honestly to be expected that the best bang for your buck sports car would eventually have other manufacturers looking to topple that top list. So I didn't shut down from reading the title of the article, and I wanted to see what in the world they were talking about. So I looked at what they had compared between the two. So looking through the list, I will say they looked at quite a few different aspects that were, in my opinion, valid aspects of comparison. The first one was the price point. So your base C8 Stingray with no option starts around $70,000 at the listed MSRP. Although you can definitely find examples of drastically reduced prices of C8 base Stingrays. I've seen them out there, but for comparison purposes, I can understand that. In any case, they looked at comparing that base Stingray C8 Corvette to a Hyundai Ioniq 5 that was fully spec'd out, which sells for around $68,000. So it is a couple of grand cheaper than the C8, which the C8 Corvette has 490 horsepower, but this fully loaded Ioniq 5N actually gives you 641 equivalent horsepower, which is a bit more. So there is more horsepower for the money with the Hyundai. than the Corvette, but the Corvette is 1,300 pounds lighter. That being said, even with the Corvette being lighter, the Hyundai still ends up having a faster 0 to 60 time and a quarter-mile time, which I actually kind of found interesting. So the Hyundai did the 0 to 60 in 2.8 seconds, where C8 can do it around that 0 to 60 around 2.9, depending on where you get your information from. Motor Trend also tested it out in the corners, where apparently the Hyundai actually had a higher lateral G than the C8 Corvette, where the Hyundai did 0.96 lateral Gs compared to the C8 doing 0.95. Pretty much near identical though, but in any case, they also did a figure 8 lap test and actually ended up having that both cars put exactly the same 24.1 second lap time. So that was pretty interesting as well. And they even tested the braking and found that the Hyundai actually stopped 2 feet shorter than the C8 Corvette. So performance-wise, I can kind of, I guess, admit that the Hyundai actually outperforms the C8 Corvette. And you can even argue that it's more functional than the C8 Corvette, considering it's a hatchback with 4 doors. So I can understand where they came from in regards to like at least the performance numbers and such. And I love the fact that they both exist, because what that is showing me is that car manufacturers are still always trying to push the envelope, trying to bring us faster cars, whether it's an EV vehicle or not. It's the same thing I was mentioning with like the ZR1 basically beating a McLaren Senna. It brings that additional like rivalry competitiveness that brings faster cars, and in the end, us as car enthusiasts, we benefit from that. So I think the real question though at the end of the day is, if you had a choice between a C8 Corvette and a Hyundai Ioniq N5, which one would you choose? You can put that in the comments if you want. I know, this being a Corvette channel, I know probably what the answer is going to be for most of you viewers that watch these kind of videos for the Corvette news, but I am curious to see what you guys think. So let me know in the comments what you guys think, if you would prefer the Corvette or the Ioniq N5. I mean, I'm curious to hear. All right, so I know there's a ton of other Corvette news that happened beyond just the few things that I mentioned, and I could probably talk about like all of it for another hour or so. But the whole point is that these are going to be routine weekly news bits of video of things that I come across. So this gives you an idea of what to kind of expect for these weekly news type videos. So again, if you like what you heard so far and you're interested in Corvette news, along with the different product review videos and my how-to videos around the Corvette, and yeah, the occasional car drive and car show that I do on the channel, and you're not subscribed already, I invite you to subscribe to the channel. It does help the channel grow and help me make more videos like this. And also real quick, if you haven't seen the channel update video that I posted last week, we have a whole new series of videos coming down the line. So we're gonna be launching a new series called The History of Speed, which looks into the rich history of our favorite sports cars and kind of brings an engineering approach and appreciation to the to the enormous amount of hard work that was needed to make these amazing cars. So the first video we're gonna be dropping will drop next week, and we're gonna be looking at the birth of the Corvette, obviously, with the Generation 1 to C1 Corvette, and look at how it all came to be and all the fun facts I came across. So definitely keep an eye out for that video. I'm really excited to share it with you guys. It's gonna be awesome. And then, yeah, the last thing we need to talk about is the giveaway, which again, if you're watching this on the day it aired, this is your last day to enter the giveaway. It's free, it's super easy to enter. All you need to do is just check out this video here. We check out the throttle controller in detail and I explain how to enter. So good luck to all those that entered. I'll be announcing the winner in next week's news video. So with that, yeah, we'll see you in the next video, guys. So take care.